It has been complete chaos today with the trade deadline. There were 6 trades that happened, a bunch more signings, a bunch more rumors. We're just going to go through the trades here in this video because I think that's what you guys are here for. So let's just hop right in. I want to talk about the trade that I already made a video on because there's a follow-up to it where the Vegas Golden Knights acquired forward Riley Smith at 50% retained from the New York Rangers in exchange for forward Brendan Bryson and a 2025 third-round pick that belongs to the San Jose Sharks. Now, again, I already made a video on it. You guys can look at the card right here. Again, I like it for the Vegas Golden Knights. They get a guy in Smith who was there when they won the cup. Good experience. He's a guy who can provide you some offense as well, playing on a secondary role. I think it's a good ad for the Golden Knights, 100%. However, the reason why I'm bringing this up again in this trade review video is because they used that third-round pick they got from San Jose to use it in another deal where they acquired defenseman Carson Soucy from the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for that third-round pick from the Golden Knights. So that's good asset management there by the New York Rangers and Chris Drury. They acquire a defenseman in Carson Soucy, who I mentioned in my Vancouver Canucks video on Monday, saying that there's a decent chance he could get traded, and we see it happen here. Now, Soucy is interesting because he has another year left after this on his contract, and I think that plays a role in why they got a third back in return, and that is going to be a higher third-round pick because it's San Jose's. So again, I like that from the New York Rangers. Good asset management there. It's funny how they are kind of acquiring every defenseman under the sun. Found that a little bit funny. But yeah, just an interesting move that we saw today involving the Rangers. They made 2 trades. We're expecting more tomorrow, to be honest. The Florida Panthers made 2 as well. The first one, Nico Sturm and a 2027 7th going to the Panthers from the San Jose Sharks in exchange for a 2026 4th-round pick. Overall, in this deal, Sturm, good 13th forward, has been in the NHL for a long time, has a lot of games under his belt, going to a team there in Florida where he'll be playing a 4th-line role most likely, playing a depth role, maybe even a 13th forward type guy. I think, honestly, though, all around, it's a pretty good move by the Panthers. They didn't give up a ton either. They got a 7th-round pick in like 2 years from now as well. I think that's very good asset management there by the Panthers as well. You know, utilizing later on draft picks that you really won't need. They're going for another cup. They're going for their 2nd straight Stanley Cup. And I think that getting a guy like Sturm can definitely help them with that. Now, the other thing that I wanted to address was we talked about in an earlier video that the Panthers had a goalie problem. And it wasn't like a starting goalie problem. It was their backup goalie that was the big issue. Trading away Spencer Knight, it left a hole in the back end. And now the Panthers made a trade acquiring Kaapo Kähkönen from the Winnipeg Jets in exchange for goaltender Chris Driedger. Now, it's pretty clear that Kähkönen is a better option than Driedger, even though Driedger has been in Florida for a long time. He is having a terrible year in the American Hockey League. And it's just not worth, trying out Driedger with the Panthers. It's better off getting a guy who can be a solid backup and won't play a lot in the playoffs. It's like an Anthony Stolarz type guy, and that's what a guy like Kähkönen's going to be with Florida. And I think that is overall a very good move for the Panthers. And again, the Jets get Driedger, who will be the same thing in Winnipeg, to be honest. I think a third string at that, to be honest. I mean, Kähkönen was more or less playing in the minors, Kähkönen was playing in the minors behind Comrie, and I think Driedger will just replace Kähkönen, and Kähkönen will become the backup in Florida. So, again, it's a good move there from the Panthers for both ends. I like it a lot for Florida, and both those deals, I think, do cover up some spots that we were a little bit hesitant about when we were looking at them in terms of being a contender. The Devils made a move acquiring Brian Dumoulin at 50% retained from the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for forward Herman Traff, his signing rights from the SHL, and a 2025 second-round pick, which is the better of Edmonton or Winnipeg. I am shocked that Brian Dumoulin got a second-round pick because, to be honest, he's more or less like a third-pairing defender. That is not any shade being thrown at Dumoulin, but it shows that it's very clearly a seller's market this year in the trade deadline because a guy like Dumoulin, a third-pairing defender, yeah, he's retained, but a 2025 second, a better of a second-round pick at that, a little bit interesting, I would say for sure. involving the New Jersey Devils there for sure. But I do like it. Again, you need another guy there on that back end for sure. Dougie Hamilton's week to week. He's questionable. You need a guy who can be a good 7th or 8th defenseman. I like that for the Devils. I expect them to be very active tomorrow. I expect them to be very active. 100%. So I'm optimistic for that. But I think overall, a good trade there from the Devils and a good move there from the Ducks. Good asset management. Last trade that I wanted to talk about was the Minnesota Wild and the Boston Bruins, where the Wild acquired forward Justin Brazeau from the Bruins in exchange for forward Marat Kuznetsov, forward Jacob Lauko, and a 2026 6th-round pick, which is Boston's own 6th-round pick. I think they got that in the Pat Maroon deal, pretty sure. But yeah, getting a guy like Brazeau from Minnesota, I'll start there first. I like Brazeau. I think he's a good ad for the Minnesota Wild. He's a good third-line player. He can score some additional secondary depth. He's a fighter. He can play in that physical style of role. He can play in the PK as well. It's a good ad overall for the Wild. I like it a lot. As for the Bruins, they got a guy in Marat Kuznetsov who's in his first year in the NHL from the KHL. He's like 23, 24. I'm pretty sure he's older than a lot of the other younger players in Minnesota, but has struggled in his time in the NHL since coming over, and I think has been in the American Hockey League for a little bit now. And getting a guy like Kuznetsov, who still has potential. He still has potential to be a really good Russian forward. But again, there is that worry that not all the time do all of those players coming over from Russia really pan out. So that's something you got to keep in mind there, I guess, if you're Boston. You also get Jacob Lauko, too, who's a player that I think can be a good ad and was already a former Boston Bruin. He's like a 4th-line player. And then you get a 6th, your own 6th at that. So not bad draft management there by the Boston Bruins. And yeah, those were the 6 trades that happened today. Again, I'm going to look at my phone one more time. I don't think there's any trades happening now because it's almost midnight here on the East Coast. But yeah, tomorrow's going to be an insane day. I am prepped for it. I have all of my stuff ready to go. I have my notebooks and everything good. I wanted to make this video tonight just because I don't want to have 6 more trades to talk about tomorrow because I know tomorrow is going to be absolutely insane. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like the video down below and please subscribe down below if you're new and join the community that we are building here. But anyways, that's it for me. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video.